feel like I feel like we're back in Italian class and we're cramming for exams.
Oh, I feel so lucky that the like final I have this semester is just like a project. I don't
Yeah.
have to speak.
Uh-huh.
It's just like, let me just shove this into a document and send it in, and it's done.
Yo,
I'm
I was
so
the
happy.
luckiest person in class to have you as my partner, cause
Oh, dude. No,
yo,
but you were really fun to work with. You really were.
yeah, I had to be. You were so smart.
Oh, stop that.
Hey yo guys, what's happening? It's your boy Araine TJ back again with another episode of Just a Thought. And today I wanted to share a Zoom call that I had with my friend Kaya, who currently lives in Norway, where she discussed her perspective on what self-care is. So, before I give away too much of today's episode, let's dive right into it.
So you and I were talking about self-care the other day and different takes we have on it. And one point we were talking about was the difference between like materialistic self-care and introspective internal self-care. And how one of them is a lot more like I'm going to treat myself because I feel I deserve it and this will give me that instant gratification, this like instant feel better pill in a way.
Mhm.
And yes, it's nice, but it doesn't last for forever. And as we talked about, putting in hard work is where people struggle. And that's where you have to be more proactive in working on yourself. And that can get ugly. It's self care, but it can look hideous when you are addressing it.
Yeah, it can, and I feel like that's because a lot of people struggle with facing the truth, and maybe because true self-care is somewhat more of like self-realization and living within yourself. um I'm not sure. That's kind of, something it could be, because self-care is such a wide topic. That's why I want to have so many different minds to
Hmm.
share their thoughts on it. But I want to ask you more about your materialistic version of self-care. Like, for instance, you or friends that you know, situations that could relate. How have you seen people take care of themselves materialistically, but not individualistically or spiritually, the
Hmm.
other way you were speaking of?
Well, I know a major example of that are the people who work themselves to the bone, to the point of exhaustion, burnout, in order to earn money so they can spend it on the things that give them that instant gratification.
Mm,
But then they aren't taking care of themselves in the long run by disrespecting their bodies, right? They're not getting enough sleep. They're not putting nutrition into their body. And that can be anything from just, 3 meals a day and enough water, right? And I think in that regard, then they aren't practicing true self-care because they're not taking care of themselves so that way they can lead a much happier life in the long run. And they're neglecting those hard conversations because they don't make you happy.
right. It's a facade.
Mm.
But what do you think is contributing to the rate of it? Because it's really vanity, based on what you're describing and how I'm interpreting it.
Mm.
Self care, and not just self care, but the misconception of self care. It seems to be leading towards self centeredness and vanity.
Yeah. No, I think you're right when it comes to self-centeredness. And I think also, we live in a world where we have the whole world at our fingertips. We have most of the people we know, we have immediate access to them for the most part. But we also have the ability to just delete them, like get rid of them, to leave messages on read. And we're then terrible at confronting those situations in real life where you can't just snap your fingers and disappear and exit out of the conversation, where you are forced to confront the issues that you have with someone or the issues that even they have with you.
Right.
And so I think we're so used to just being able to turn something off if we don't like it. And while in some regard that can be very healthy, that we learn how to just turn something off and just walk away, it also means that we are far more likely to not reflect on our own actions and our own feelings and work through them to come out better on the other side.
Exactly. Yo, I feel that. I definitely do.
And I'm guilty of it too. I really am. And it's something that when I do it, I'm like, God damn, do better.
Yeah.
And so I think we all need to take that. But like confrontation is hard. Even people who are like, I'm a confrontational person, even with them, when it comes to something that really means a lot to them, where something is on the line, then of course you're going to struggle through it.
Yeah, that is very true. Cause I mean, I view myself as the type that I have no problem with, approaching certain situations. But yeah, to be quite truthful, there are moments and there are things still in my life that I have yet to approach, and I feel like it requires a certain level of strength. Yeah, a certain level of
Mm,
strength that a lot of people seem to be lacking, and I don't know why. I think it has something to do with, like, this is not a joke. I think it's something to do with the food we eat, or um just like the internet today, social media. Like you were saying, the world is at our fingertips now. I'm here in Philly and you're in Norway, and here we
mm,
are,
yeah,
magic. Um
definitely.
but it causes people to think a certain way, because, like, let's look back in our parents' time. Let's say there's some guy courting you and you're in a small village. No, more than likely, you might give him a chance.
Mm,
You might, because there's this guy in the village and there's only so many guys in this village, and there's so little chances of you leaving that village.
yeah.
But here now today, all right, yeah, there's this guy in my village, but I got this dating app, I got that dating
Mm,
app. I could get
yeah.
some guy in California to fly me out.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of
Mm,
different options. And for me, my mom always, like, teased me about this. Like, anytime we're ordering food from a menu, I need the smallest menu or I'll be in there forever. The
yeah.
more options you have, it's harder to choose. And it seems
Mm,
like now, with everything in society, everything is an option. You know,
mm,
who you talk to is an option. Who do you end up with is an option. Who's your friend is an option. How
yeah.
long are they your friend is an option.
Mm,
Like you said, you could put them on mute on Instagram. You
yeah.
could put them on do not disturb. You could block
Mhm,
their number. You could do so many different things with whoever you
mm,
meet. You can meet
yeah.
anyone right now and then delete them right after. And it's like,
Yeah.
this false construct of what relationships are is
Mm,
kind of distorting how people view self-care. It's like a catalyst where one thing affects the other. You know,
mm.
that's how I kind of view some of this.
Yeah, no, I really hear you there. I think in the last couple months even, I've noticed that like certain people who I was maybe like in regular contact with on a certain social media platform who I met in real life as well. It's not just like oh, this person is a stranger, I should just get rid of them sort of thing. They just disappeared. Like you search for them and I'm like, did you block me? If so why? And of course like I have my reasons sometimes for like unfollowing someone. So I'm like, nah, I'm kind of tired of what I see that you're doing. Like I don't care much for you anymore. And that happens in real life as well. You just naturally grow apart. But there are some people who like they take that step away from those platforms, from those channels of communication for their own well-being. Because sometimes there are negative aspects, and like we talked about, like social media, like one thing I love about it is that I can keep in touch with people I know all over the place. And so I'm so lucky to have that access. But at the same time, if I ever want to take a step back and, just put my phone on silent, just turn everything off to relish in the moment I'm living in, or to take care of myself and just recuperate from whatever I'm dealing with, you kind of feel like in a way you're blocking those people out. And I think self-care, as I think you talked about in your episode as well, was establishing boundaries.
Mm.
And
I
boundaries are really important. I think people also they have to learn to pay attention and listen to what these boundaries are telling them about you
mm,
and your relationship. But they also often need to think about the fact that it probably has nothing personal against them.
true, true.
It's just that you have to take a step back for your own well-being, maybe reevaluate some things in your life so you can hopefully be a better friend to all.
Yeah, and then I feel like it's so weird because the way how society is going now, a lot of people, especially young women, and I feel like it's not really my place to speak because I'm not a young woman, but
Mm,
we all see it. Um, Society in these social media's platforms have created this false perception of what beautiful should looks like. And
mm,
then there's a bunch of people chasing this thing that they know they can't attain by buying all these materialistic items and then
mm,
ignoring others or using others. And then you have things now like OnlyFans, and like I get that people use it for other platforms, but let's be real,
mm,
and this is really what society is coming to, you know what I mean?
mm,
And it's just so weird, just for the love of money and vanity and a
mm,
few likes, people are now selling their body for nothing to millions of strangers, you know what I mean?
mm.
And it's just, what? And they
Yeah.
think they're taking care of themselves because why?
Mm,
There's more money in their bank account and there's
mm,
more people liking their pictures,
mm,
and they're getting better at that facade,
mm,
that putting up that fake mask of beauty.
mm,
And that is not what self-care is, but
no.
it's like,
Mm.
I don't know how to put it.
No, but I get what you're saying. I remember when I was in Japan, I remember people were explaining that on a lot of job applications for Japanese companies, it will often be asked of applicants to include not only like a photo of them, so you can put a name to a face, right? Like that seems pretty reasonable to me. But they will sometimes ask for like your height and your weight. And I think to myself, what does that have to do with a person's job unless they're like a weightlifter?
Right.
Like, what should that have to do with them being able to be an IT consultant or a chef? Like, to me, that should not matter. But it goes to show how much people are putting emphasis on the importance of vanity within their own organization, right? That, like, if you don't fit this mold, you're not welcome here. And it doesn't matter if you actually meet the real, um, intellectual qualifications.
Mm,
And even now, I know that whenever it comes to like creatives trying to curate their portfolio, their space, a lot of times people look at their social media. And a couple of weeks ago, I was talking with a friend who's an aspiring photographer who had been to a show, and he overheard two guys at the gallery who run it talking about like, oh, this one artist was inquiring about, having an exhibition here. And it wasn't so much, oh, let's go check out her website and see what her work looks like. It's like, let's go check her Instagram. And that's not to say that they were looking to see if she was attractive, as a person
mm,
to have a show there. But the way that you have to create or, curate your materials matters now, like the aesthetic behind it. So I think that's part of why people are also caring more and more. Like, it kind of makes me worried about the fields that I could go into because I'm worried that people will look at exactly what they see on the surface and think that that is a direct reflection of the work I can do, like
right.
what I can actually bring to the table. And I don't think that's very fair. It's like the concept of don't judge a book by its cover.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's dangerous. But at the same time, think about how many books you have picked up probably because you thought the cover was intriguing, whether it was the title displayed on it, or the font, or the colors, or that it had won an award. Like plenty of us take that into consideration.
True.
Hmm.
True. I guess we all do it to some degree.
Mm.
Um, I had a point, speaking more to the I guess the false reasoning behind certain things. Like there, a lot of people are now on this being fit wave and being athletic and stuff. And I spent the first 17 years of my life in track and field. And I see a lot of people, when I go to the tracks and stuff, because I still try to run every other day, do some jogs and stuff. And I see people running with such terrible forms. Like such terrible, like they're hurting themselves in the long run and they don't know. But they gotta go run these jogs, and go to the gym and put on this look and and gain a certain aesthetic
Mm.
fit in. And then it also causes others to feel left out. That FOMO, that feeling of being left out, it causes a lot boys and girls to
Mm,
feel left out, and they do anything to pursue that, even
mm,
if that thing is getting active and getting fit. The reason
mm,
why they're getting fit and healthy
mm.
is not healthy. You know what I
It's not
mean?
for the inside.
It's not
Yeah.
for the inside. It's
Mm,
for the next person to see me and like me and tell
mm.
me I look good for just 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and you know, it's
Mm,
it's weird. It's like you're not really building yourself up if you
yeah.
move through life like that.
Mm,
I don't know.
yeah.
That's my thoughts on it so far.
No, I really hear you there. I was talking today actually with two of my classmates about, finally finding a form of exercise or fitness that actually is something that you actually look forward to because you think it's fun. And I remember as we were actually talking about some cultural differences. And I remember when I was a kid and I did some kind of competitive sports in the US actually, but I did it more because like I thought it was fun. I
Mm,
wasn't necessarily good, so I definitely wasn't doing it for any vain reasons or anything, like nothing to boost my exterior. And but as I got older and you start to focus on competition and being more competitive and being the best, scoring the most goals, being, you know, the very best. And I was like, I know that's not me, but I still want to do this because I enjoy it and I've gone along with it for as long as I have. And I remember the exact moment I threw in the towel on one of them was when I had managed to like miss catching something,
mhm.
and the girl who had thrown it towards me, she was the one who initially had fucked that up.
Yeah.
And so of course I wasn't going to catch it, but she was freaking out on me over it, and I was like, I'm done. This is it. This is the last time I'm doing this because I don't want that kind of negative energy to be exerted when I'm meant to be doing something good for me and that's supposed to be fun. And I feel like for me personally, that really tarnished my relationship with physical activity
Mm.
and finding joy in it. Because I was like, well, clearly I'm not good at it, so why bother? And I think that's another unfortunate like roadblock a lot of people meet is, well, I'm clearly not good at it. It's hard, so why should I bother?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Like I know what happens to plenty of people. And so for me then as I got just a few years later, then I was rediscovering, I guess, trying to be active and I got into running. And for then it was me trying to become a better version of myself. So I would time how long it took me to run a certain distance, what speed I was going at, and just trying to incrementally improve that. And I didn't make any, tremendous breakthrough, but I did so much more than I ever thought I was capable of.
great.
Yeah.
Great.
So I think that doing things like real internal self-care will make you eventually feel like you've had a breakthrough, like you've come so far. And when you look back and you're like, God, that was hard, that was so challenging, but you wouldn't have it any other way because of where you are now.
Hmm. I love that. I love that a lot, Kaya. Thank you so much for your thoughts on self-care. And
Oh, I'm glad we could talk.
yeah, me too, me too. I guess that's it for now with that topic, and hopefully I'll see you again one day.
Definitely. We'll meet up somewhere.
Cool.
All right, guys. So that was just a thought with Araine, TJ, and Kaya. And if you have a thought that you want to share, or if you want to speak on this topic, you can DM me, DM her. You can comment below. And as usual, have a good day, everyone.